Bottom five here at Oil City Stadium. Still no score between the Hounds and the Oilmen. Connor Oliver worked out of trouble in the top half of this inning. Now Connor Tomasic, Andre Dimitrol, and Trey Hondras will look to get the game's first run on the board against Seth Masters, who remains on the mound. Tomasic into the box. He takes a big cut at a Masters changeup. 0-1 count to start the bottom of the fifth.
It's been fun the last few nights here to see very good starting pitching. I always like smooth pitchers duels, and it's been fun to see tonight.
The 0-1, Tomasic drives it to straightaway left. Petkoff goes back, and it's off the wall. Tomasic had a big turnaround first, but an alert play by Petkoff in left field holds him to a single. However, it is a leadoff knock for the third baseman.
That hit near the edge of the brick monster in left, Ryan. Had it been just a little bit to the right, it would have sailed over the land of Frost sign for a home run. And it would have been a second straight night for a Tomasic home run, but instead it hits off the wall. Petkoff, who has played here at Oil City Stadium a lot, knows the bounce you're going to get. He played that bounce perfectly and made a strong throw to second to hold him to a single.
Andre Dimitrol shows bunt, pulls back on a called strike. Sean Blanchard out of his crouch quickly, thought about a back pick, but held on to the baseball. Nothing in one against Dimitrol. 1 on, none out, no score between the Hounds and the Oilmen. Masters working from the stretch once again. Now a throw over to Tomasic at first. He is safe. Tomasic, not exactly the fleetest of foot, but with a guy like Dimitrol who can just make contact, the hit and run's always an option. He shows bunt again, gets it down the third base side. Masters fields it towards the line, turns and throws to first in time. An athletic play from the left-handed pitcher. It does go down in the books as a sacrifice. Andre Dimitrol does his job. Connor Tomasic up to second base with one down, and the lineup card turning over for Trey Hondras.
Yeah, good bunt out of Dimitrol. He's a gamer, the guy that'll do the little things like that. As Ben Capel is going to emerge and head out to chat with Masters here. Rick Panic, normally the pitching coach, is not here for this one game. But Ben Capel's head out to the mound. We'll see what he wants to do as he brings the infield in here. But good fundamentals from Dimitrol getting the bunt down in a 0-0 game. That's a huge play, and you got to play a little small ball in a pitcher's duel like this. That's exactly what the Oilmen do, getting Tomasic to second base.
That last out makes it the longest outing for Seth Masters this year. You got to imagine that's on manager Ben Capel's mind. This is uncharted territory for Masters now.
Yeah, no question. He's a guy who has not gone deep into games, and you also just used him a couple of nights ago in relief. Yes, it was only one inning. Yes, it could function kind of like a side session, but he still did pitch out of the bullpen in that game the other night. That was on the 22nd, so just 2 days off since that contest, and he's going to stick with him here. He might not be able to go as deep as maybe the Oilmen starting pitcher Connor Oliver can tonight. You look at the pitch counts as well. Masters at 74. Oliver's up a little bit, but it's still under 60 at 59.
The meeting on the mound concludes, and Trey Hondras digs in for the third time today. Masters will pay close attention to Tomasic at second. The first attempt to Hondras, a fastball outside corner called for a strike. Hounds 0, Oilmen 0, bottom of the fifth, but a runner stands in scoring position in the form of Connor Tomasic. Masters pays close attention to him. Botcher holding him. The 0-1, a foul ball off Hondras' bat. He's behind 0-2. So far, 1 for 2 day for Hondras, an infield single and a strikeout. That single, though, did advance Andre Dimitrol from first to third despite the ball not leaving the infield. Just a heads-up play all around by both parties. After the throw, Jackson Dvorak, the first baseman, did come off the bag to try and gun down Dimitrol, but he was so close to third base, Dvorak just made the right play to hold the baseball. 0-2 to Hondras. Fastball upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes against him now. Brandon, we talked about Hondras' struggles earlier in the season, but even so, he still found ways to make himself valuable to Chris Cunningham and the Oilmen.
Oh, and he's such a class act and such a leader that he's automatically valuable in that sense. He's also a team guy. He was happy with the victory yesterday. He said he feels like this team's coming together and they're ready to wrap off a long winning streak. And he says all the right things, so you just love to have him around.
Masters ready with the 1-2. Fastball well outside over the left-handed batter's box, and Hondras works this count even at 2 apiece. So far today, he has the one hit, and he's made a couple nice plays in center. Masters eyeing Tomasic the whole way at second. The 2-2 fastball outside. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes against Hondras. First base is open, so the walk wouldn't hurt the Hounds, but you never want to have to deal with Hondras' speed. Blanchard and Masters agree on a pitch call. Outside setup from the catcher. The payoff pitch. Hondras drives it to left field. Going back. Petkoff. This one is well foul. That had home run distance. Hondras just swung a bit too early.
Yeah, it's funny because it's exactly what we were talking about before the game. He's early on everything. He talked about getting his timing right against the speed and the velocity that he's facing in this league. He said the problem has been being too early, and he's trying to get that timing down. He just crushed that ball, but as you mentioned, a little bit out in front.
We'll try the payoff pitch once again. Masters rocks and delivers a slider that's fouled the other way towards the first base side, so still a full count. Hondras putting up a nice battle here against the laboring Masters. The next pitch, the 8th between these two. Masters looks down to second at Tomasic. Another payoff pitch. Hondras takes a look at a curveball just below the zone. A well-earned walk for the center fielder. Now 2 on for Clay Thompson.
Yeah, just missed the zone. Kevin Dato, the home plate umpire, did kind of flinch where I thought he may ring up Trey Hondras. It was, I do think, a little bit low, but you could see the home plate umpire kind of weighing the options on what he was going to call that. And now it's an even bigger spot for Clay Thompson.
Connor Tomasic remains at second. Trey Hondras now at first for Clay Thompson. He looks at a slider for a first pitch strike. We are still scoreless over halfway through this one, bottom 5. However, the Oilmen threatening really for the second time. Masters comes set, foot on the back half of the rubber. The 1-0 liner to second, caught by Rosengard. He lost the ball in the transfer, flipped to first, a double play though. That ends the inning. We remain tied 0-0 through 5. Brandon Vickery will take over the play-by-play duties when we come back here on the Northwest Indiana Oilmen Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the statewide Federal Credit Union Statesman Game Day Report. I'm Ryan Zimmerman, and I'm joined by Statesman offensive lineman Tristan Mosley. Tristan, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Ryan.
Despite not being where the team wants to be through the first 5 games of the season, the Statesman can take pride in a potent offense, averaging just over 400 yards a game and just under 34 points a game. How good does it feel that despite everything that's gone on in the early stages of the season, you're part of an offensive unit that can perform well game in and game out?
I think it's really boosted our confidence knowing that we have the talent and just the weapons to produce these kinds of numbers on the field. And if we could fix our small problems, we could really be a threat to the nation.
More specifically, in the ground game, you've anchored an offensive line that's produced 4 100-yard rushers, and Rico Owens leads that bunch with 265 rushing yards. How much pride do you take in your run blocking and opening up holes for 4 really good ball carriers to do damage?
Yeah, DSU O-linemen, we act like we invented the inside zone. We've practiced that day in and day out, and these 5 guys that are with me, we've been together for over 3 years now, and it's just become second nature to us.
You're part of an offensive line that boasts a lot of experience with Nick Millsop, yourself, and Ennis Claude from right to center, all in your 4th or 5th year playing college football. How does that experience help with the level of competition you face week in, week out, and into a tough GSC schedule? How does that help you against teams that really play well on the defensive side of the ball?
I think on-field experience is probably the best thing to have as an athlete, especially in football, and especially in an O-lineman position. Being able to pick up on small things that you've seen before and not really have to waste time thinking about it. Like I said, we've all played together for a while. We have a lot of chemistry, and we don't have to specifically communicate with each other. We know what the other person is going to do, when they're going to do it, and we have this sort of yin and yang, ebb and flow within ourselves.
At the end of the 2021-2022 school year, you actually have plans of attending medical school. How did you become interested in practicing medicine?
I've always been interested in science, and I did well in my early years in science courses, and then as I got into my undergrad, I had to make a decision for myself, and I knew I wanted to be in the medical field, so I started shadowing different professions, and when I got to a physician, I really enjoyed it and pursued that, and now I'm in the final steps, and I've done a few interviews and waiting to hear back from certain schools.
What has it been like balancing a future career as a doctor and preparing for medical school with the challenges of being a college student athlete?
I think balancing both of these aspects of my life has been very challenging, but also it's kept me busy and out of boredom too. I think it's a great way to attack both sides. You know, if you can manage both, then you'll excel very well in each, and I think it'll set me up for success when I go to medical school. I've already worked with a tough schedule and having a lot on my plate.
Shifting gears towards tonight's game, the Statesmen take on the number 3 team in the nation in the Valdosta State Blazers. What stands out to you about their defense on film?
I think they're a great team, and I think they're very well coached and disciplined. Obviously, you could see that because they haven't lost many games in the past few years. But I think if we get out there and perform with the talent that we do have, it shouldn't be a problem for us.
What do you and the rest of the offensive line need to do to win the battle in the trenches tonight?
I think we'll be able to run the ball pretty easily on them. They have some good pass rushers. If we can stay strong up front and have some time for Rat to get the ball out, we should be good.
Well, Tristan, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of your statewide Federal Credit Union Statesman Game Day report in just a moment. You're listening to Delta State Football on Magic 107.5 FM and the Statesman Sports Network.
Welcome to the Delta State Statesman halftime show here from the Farm Bureau press box at beautiful Parker Field, McCool Stadium. My name is Ryan Zimmerman, and Delta State is looking good through the first 2 quarters. It's their first half lead since West Florida at this very field 2 weeks ago, as the Statesmen lead the North Greenville Crusaders by a score of 14-13. This week marks the first ever collegiate start for quarterback Cole Kirk, and he has looked very comfortable in his first time seeing extended action in his collegiate career. He did well against Valdosta State given the circumstances last week, but with the full week of preparation and already 2 quarters of full play under his belt, he looks like a good fit for this Statesman offense. So far, 16 for 27 through the air, 116 yards, no touchdowns yet, but also no interceptions and no fumbles. North Greenville has answered with 2 quarterbacks of their own. They've relied more on the ground game, but Bryce Fields and Kalen Riley have combined for a total of 5 of 10 and 52 pass yards, 1 passing touchdown as well. That's North Greenville's only touchdown to date so far. Taking a look inside the numbers, Delta State has outrushed North Greenville 119-46. Rico Owens has carried the bulk of the load, 9 carries for 56 yards and 2 scores. Should he score another touchdown, it would be the first time since Chris Robinson did so on November 18th, 2017 against Bowie State in the NCAA Division II playoffs that a Statesman running back will have scored 3 rushing touchdowns in a single game. As for North Greenville, Cale Swift leads the way, 30 yards on 7 carries. Samai Lakin, 4 carries for 17 yards. And then Joshua Edwards, 1 carry for 8 yards. And E.J. Humphrey, 2 rushes for a total of 3 yards. Cole Kirk has spread the football around. 4 receivers have all caught passes, and each has caught more than 1. Tremel Withrow leads the way, 4 grabs for 26 yards. Dante Myers the most yards, 3 catches for 48. Oakley Coleman has 3 for 20, and Tyler Kennedy 2 for 17. On the North Greenville side, Joshua Edwards caught the lone North Greenville touchdown, 2 catches for 19 yards and a score. Logan Bird, the only other Crusader receiver to catch more than one pass. He has 2 grabs for 14 yards. Doug Washington and Christian Bruce each have 1 catch for 13 and 12 yards respectively. Delta State leads in total offense, 47 plays for 235 yards, as opposed to North Greenville's 31 for 112. However, North Greenville leads in the turnover department. Tremel Withrow fumbled, North Greenville recovered, and took it 49 yards for the game's only turnover thus far. In terms of penalties, Delta State's got to clean that one up too. While North Greenville only has 1 penalty, a pass interference for a total of 9 yards, Delta State has 7 for 55. They also lead in time of possession, 19-13 to 10-47. Have also converted more on 3rd down, 4 of 9 as opposed to North Greenville's 1 of 5. And Delta State attempted the only 4th down conversion of the day, and they're 0 for 1. Both teams have scored on both of their red zone scoring chances. We'll take a quick break, but when we return, we'll take a look around the GSC and the top 25 of D2 football here on the Delta State Statesman Halftime Report. Don't go anywhere.
Cox and Moore scoring recap. Valdosta State, 6 plays, 96 yards in 2 minutes and 7 seconds across the field. And honestly, Ryan, right now it's the big play that's hurting Delta State defensively.
And it looks like that's all Valdosta State is getting. It seems like if they can get the football out of the quarterback's hands, it doesn't matter who gets it next, but they have that touchdown potential on every play, and that's really what's burning the defense.
Set to kick off once again will be Thiel. Gainwell standing back in his own end zone will return this one, if he can get a return. High and very deep, and Gainwell will just let this one bounce through the end zone, and we'll bring it on out. Offensively, Statesman have moved the ball well so far here in this first half. Rushed it for 66 yards, 7 of 13 passing for 76 yards, 142 yards of offense. It's about what you would like, just haven't been able to punch at the end zone, while Valdosta has so far 258 yards of total offense and have punched it in 4 times.
And that's been the big difference. That's been the big difference. If they get that last touchdown, that might give the defense the momentum it needs to make a stop. Still a 2-score game, but unfortunately, things just haven't gone Delta State's way.
Cole Kirk, still your quarterback out there. Takes the handoff, steps up, pass across the middle, intended for Myers, and miscommunication between Myers and Kirk on what route was supposed to be run there. Robbie Evans will check in. And so 2nd and 10. I think Kirk thought Myers was going to go into the left, and he kept going to the right. Spot throw, incomplete. 4 receiver set once again. Kirk has to make a couple men miss. He's going to take off and run. 35, comes back inside. Almost a 35, I should say. He gets blocked right down before the 35 to about the 33-yard line. And showing a little bit what Patrick Chegon can do. He wanted to throw, but he had to take off and run and did well with that.
And the pocket collapsed on Kirk pretty quick. And one thing that you Statesman fans will get to know about Kirk really quickly is that he's got sneaky athleticism. He doesn't look like it straight away, just looks like a typical straight-up pocket passer, but he's got wheels. If he sees a running lane, he'll take it and get a big gain out of it.
2 receivers are to the right. 3rd and short coming up here. Handoff up the middle for Dampier. He'll get the first down, break a tackle. Still on his feet past the 40-yard line to about the 44-yard line, running over people. That's what we like to see from Dampier. 1st and 10 for the Statesman at the 44.
Throughout the last 3 games, he's really been getting it going. And one thing that I think helps him a lot is just the yards after contact. He puts one guy on the ground that ups his confidence, and that's when you see him break off the big runs.
Shotgun formation again. Handoff. Dampier again will underneath and get a handful of yards up to about the 47-yard line. He broke through another tackle, Ryan, as you mentioned. Run after contact and kind of leaned forward and got a couple out of nothing. 2nd and long coming up.
What I like about Coach Cooley's play calling is that even though they're down by 4 scores, they're still not panicking, and they still feel comfortable running the football.
So a long way left to go in this one. Hand off again. Dampier almost got tackled in the backfield. He'll get up to the 50-yard line. Kirk was almost tackled, handing the ball off to Dampier. Valdosta hasn't got that much pressure on the quarterback, but they've also not just sat back and let him sit there for all day.
It seems like they've gotten better penetration on run plays than pass plays at times. They still haven't recorded a sack yet, and in no small part to the elusiveness of Shegog and Kirk, though.
3rd and about 4 coming up. Ball's right at midfield. Valdosta showing blitz. Kirk's going to run it up the middle, and he's going to be just short. It looked like it was a design draw all the way, and Nick Moss just got a hand on him. Kirk had open field all in front of him if he was able to get it. And it's 4th and 2. Are we going to punt it, or are we going to go for it? And it looks like we're going to go for it here.
I mean, at this point, Valdosta State is on the brink of just running away with this. You really don't have much to lose by going for it, and in fact, it shows that even though I'll finish the point after the play.
4th and 2, handoff. Rico Owens powers over a man, gets the first down and a couple more yards, and Rico Owens just pile driving Corey Roberts backwards. First down for the Statesman.
That's just what Rico does. He puts his head down, runs hard, pumps those legs, and gets the extra yards you need. But I feel like going for it on 4th down makes a statement that even though you're down by this much, you still have so much confidence in your defense that you're willing to give them half a field to defend against a red-hot offense.
Kirk steps back, looking, pressure, and he's going to be slung down and sacked. And absolutely body slammed by Brian Williams. His 3rd and a half sack on the season is going to be a 6-yard loss back to midfield. And that time, there's too much coverage downfield for Kirk to do anything.
Just holding on to the ball as long as he needed to. Sometimes that's just the play you need to make. Take the sack instead of trying to force a pass that turns into an interception.
An official's timeout right here. We'll keep it here momentarily. Oh, we've got a moment. We've got a man down across for Valdosta. That's why holding his left leg. I think we're going to take a timeout. We'll take a timeout with them as well. As Flow Sports goes to timeout, we'll take a timeout. Back in a moment on the Statesman Sports Network.